The screenplay is what the whole production stems from. So what we really need is to have a good seed, and that's why we needed to spend all this time with the screenplay.
Well, the script's the most important part of the project, is the foundation, the blueprint of the film. So without a good script, we knew that our project would be doomed from the start. So we wanted to make sure we put everything we possibly could into that.
We probably spent a solid 2 months with it, and just continuously revising and stretching it and putting all our time and effort into it to make it this solid piece of work.
The four of us wrote the script together as a team, which worked out better than we thought it was going to. It actually was really helpful because one of us would see something that, maybe the other three wouldn't, or three of us would see something that the other one wouldn't.
Working on our characters, if we have good, believable characters, then maybe the audience is going to find an emotional connection that will really resonate with them, and they'll like the story that much more.
You think if he knew he'd be dead in the next 5 seconds, or something like that?
Do you think he would be charging so bravely if he knew that he would be dead in the next 5 seconds?
With a minuscule budget, a lot of times you don't have the resources to go out and to buy what you want or what you need. So we went out and just built what we needed. We built a blood squib machine, we built an air cannon, and gave us our practical desired effects, and we think it really turned out well on screen.
So in addition to directing and writing and casting and all that thing, we're also behind the scenes shop crew. And that was a lot of fun. We learned a lot about air compression and valves and just a lot of things like that, liquids and how they move.
So the air cannon is almost identical to the blood cannon, except in a larger format. We would fill the air cannon with dirt, flour, peat moss, any type of debris to simulate a ground hit explosion from a Civil War cannon.
Our blood rig is something we're really proud of because not only was it conventional and relatively cheap to make, but it was very, very effective. We got some amazing blood effects, and it's all using just air compression, completely safe for the actors. It's all about combining your visual and your practical effects. The script called for a period-correct sniper rifle, and one of the things we decided early on was that the weapon itself had to have its own character and personality, much like the sharpshooter that was holding it.
Unfortunately, the scope that is attached to the sniper rifle is very expensive. So instead of buying one, which would cost an arm and a leg, we decided let's go to our hardware store, buy some copper fitting and some metal piping, and make our own.
The scope was a lot of fun to build. Basically, we just went to Home Depot and we got some conduit piping and then a couple slip couplings, and then we just painted it black and then added the couplings on the end of it, and then just attached it to a 9 o'clock position onto the side of the rifle.
So you see here we have it mounted specifically with a 45-degree angle, which is historically accurate, and also kind of a characteristic of the trade of the sniper that shot it. Also, the rifle on the side has notches for each life he's taken. It says a lot about him as a sniper. He's good at what he does.
We wrote a very particular type of land that we needed. We needed 2 ridges and a valley below, and in the south in Mississippi there's a lot of flat land. So when we stumbled upon this land driving through some of the back roads, got really excited, we were really happy that we found it, and we knew that that was the land that we needed to shoot on. So we went out there and talked to the landowner, and he didn't have a problem with us shooting on it.
This Buck Jr. guy was a real piece of work. Local legend has that he embezzled millions of dollars from a bank he once owned, spent some time in jail. But you wouldn't know it from talking to the guy, the nicest man you'll ever meet, and let us shoot on his beautiful land, exactly what the script called for, with a valley in the middle, flanked on 2 sides by ridges these snipers and journalists stood on, and it was really great just to be out there. You really felt like you were back in the Civil War. It took place on actual land a battle was fought at, so we really felt the history, and I think it really comes out when you look at the film.
Using Civil War reenactors, we agreed, was probably going to be the only way that we were going to be able to get this done accurately. We went online and we found a bunch of emails, a bunch of phone numbers, and we started contacting reenactors not just in Mississippi but all over the southern United States. They were generous enough to respond. Some sounded really interested, but on the day that we got there, not as many showed up as we were anticipating, but the ones who did show up were incredibly helpful. They knew their stuff. They brought a ton of equipment, extra suits, weapons, and they were very, very humble, and they knew their stuff, and so asking them to help us out was a major advantage in our film.
We held auditions at the local library. They were open auditions, anyone could come in and read for a part. They were cold reads. We had a great turnout, a lot of really charismatic, interesting people. We were just able to get a lot of really unique performances.
When we were down there, we didn't really realize how much talent and how many actors were interested in film down there. It was really great to see kind of the diversity and multitude of people who were interested in filmmaking.
We also had a lot of video auditions people sent in. That's actually how we found a lot of our main actors.